What is going on, snipers? Naeem Al-Obeidi here. I hope all of y'all are enjoying your day today. Let's dive into our daily cryptocurrency market update for the day. We're going to be looking at Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market as a whole and talk about why it's significantly changing and how those changes are going to be implemented and what the market is going to look like after these changes of more fiat pairings being added to these exchanges. We're also going to talk about Verge experiencing a 51% attack, now being forced to have a hard fork. How's that going to affect Verge? We're going to dive into that. And India just banned cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin while Japan is embracing it, creating regulations for ICOs, which are initial coin offerings if you don't know. And how is that going to affect the market? Let's dive into it. Let's first look at the Bitcoin technical analysis. Not much to look at other than the fact that this is the price zone that I'm watching right now here from 6,800 all the way down to 5,800, being that this is really the only levels that we know of at this point that Bitcoin could head down to. And if it blows past these levels, then we may see some further downside. So at this point, I'm being very cautious. As y'all know, RSI is not looking too good, heading back down towards 30 as an oversold asset. In my opinion, it's a good time to dollar cost average our way into this coin, but just be careful because understand that the volatility in this market is unlike any other market out there, and there's a lot of risk. So at these price levels, as we've talked about over the past couple of weeks, we're looking to take advantage of these quick swings up and down. However, since we haven't seen further downside since this initial swing, I have not yet initiated any positions. I'm waiting to see what's going to happen around that 6,400, 6,300 price level. And if it starts to see significant sell-off from there, I think that's where I'll enter a position as long as the RSI dips below 30, becomes oversold like we saw here in February, because that resulted in this huge uptick in price, and that's something that I'd expect this time around as the RSI becomes oversold. So transitioning into our topic, which is looking at these altcoins. This is something we've been talking about over the past couple of months, and you can see how the dominance of altcoins right now is rising with Bitcoin for the first time, whereas previously it acted as an inverse correlation. So why is this true? Well, there's this awesome Reddit post that I saw, and I'd love to share it with you. There are a couple good points here. I'm not going to go through all of it, and some of y'all might not see this or deem it credible. However, in my opinion, it's been getting quite a bit of traction and some attention, and I think it has some good points. It says here, the trend of USD altcoin pairings are getting more popular with these exchanges like Bitfinex, Bittrex, and Binance. And all of this is going to lead to a decoupling of altcoins from Bitcoin. It's something we've been talking about here on Snipers Tube. Bitcoin is so attached to all of these coins, and when Bitcoin goes up, all the coins will follow a pattern based on what Bitcoin is doing. And that's kind of hard in a market where we're looking to invest our money in these projects that have potential intrinsic value, but because Bitcoin crashes, now all of our investment is down because of this effect. And in order to get away from this, we need to see more pairing. So it says here, more new money will be entering the market in a much easier way now. Something we've talked about recently, as we've said that there's going to be more opportunities in altcoins more than likely than in Bitcoin over the next couple of months, because of the fact that more buyers are getting onto these exchanges like Binance. And it says here, we will see the altcoins real value without Bitcoin affecting it. So coins like VeChain, Walton Chain, IOTA, EOS, Cardano, we can see their true intrinsic value rather than determine it based upon what Bitcoin is doing. And that's a big difference in this market, and it may allow for more money to come in because people will feel more confident in the investments that they're making. So once again, this whole market is all about maturation. We're looking for this market to mature. As the market matures, that's when there's going to be more money into the market because people are more confident with this whole concept of cryptocurrency and blockchain technology as a real investment of the future. So transitioning from there, Verge experiencing a accelerated miner attack, or a 51% attack. If y'all don't know how most networks work, there are thousands of nodes verifying transactions, and if you can take control of the majority of those nodes, then you can initiate what we see here, an accelerated mining attack. I'm not going to dive too deep into it, but I will talk about this. It is crashing the price of XVG here, over 23% overnight. and they are planning a hard fork to fix the issue, which means that the coin forks and it goes two ways, and they can either, as you can see here, allow the hacker to keep all of the blocks that were mined, or they can just roll it back to an earlier stage before the exploit and then deem all those tokens useless. But as y'all know, with hard forks, that doesn't always typically go the right way. Ethereum, for example, the original blockchain of Ethereum was Ethereum Classic, and it eventually had a hard fork very early on in 2013, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and it forked into what we now know as Ethereum, and Ethereum Classic has always still been around, but that was the original blockchain. So pretty interesting. It's cool to know that. In my opinion, as I mentioned in our video a couple days ago, is it still worth it to buy Verge? I said get out of there while it was up, and hopefully y'all are able to take those profits. Now looking at India banning Bitcoin, what does this mean? Is this negative news? Well, first of all, before you start, getting a little worried, I remember when China banned ICOs and Bitcoin was around $4,000 to $5,000. Within months, we were way past $10,000, and people thought that this was the end of the world. We saw a little crash in the market, but at the end of the day, I remember one of my mentors told me this as a joke. He said, man, I was talking about cryptocurrencies. He's like, dude, whatever China bans is probably something you should invest in, right? So not to criticize anybody, I'm just saying that this article here is interesting because it shows that they're now launching their own fiat currency with the intentions of having a central bank of digital currency. What a weird approach, right? Now it's talking about this whole scenario being due to the fact that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies pose a risk, and that's all they really detailed, which maybe they'll release further details. But it's funny, some of the comments here I think have really good points. One saying, banning a digital form of virtual currency outright prevents innovation and disruptive payment solutions from cropping up. And that makes a lot of sense. It's like the alcohol prohibition, right? In the United States, where alcohol was banned and people were still selling it and buying it. Why? Because it was something that they wanted to consume. And in that manner, sometimes there are things that you just can't prevent, you have to control. That's why we're seeing a lot of marijuana regulations starting to creep up. Rather than just saying, hey, we're gonna ban this in the United States, people are like, okay, hemp has some medical use, let's start using this. So same thing here. It's kind of like, man, why do you want to ban an emerging technology? It's almost like saying in 2000, hey, I'm gonna ban websites because this poses a risk to the state of my country. Well, that means you're acting upon fear, and I'd rather be led by somebody acting not upon fear. So I think this is just something that is breeding fearfulness within these countries. Therefore, because of that fearfulness of their country being taken over by cryptocurrency, they're now enacting these regulations, which in my opinion is only going to allow the countries that are open-minded to prosper and allow all the other ones to be delayed and held back, because they are implementing these laws, which are, in my opinion, irrational. As y'all see, somebody also said India following the footsteps of China. I think they want to beat China in everything: the population, the pollution, and now banning. So that's kind of what I meant with what my mentor was talking about. China's a great country, once again. Nothing against China. But transitioning from there, some positive news to end the news and update for today. Japanese government revealing a proposal to legalize initial coin offerings. What a big feat in cryptocurrencies. If y'all don't know, Japan is really where Bitcoin started. It was in the crisis around 2008, and it was officially launched in January of 2009, and it was all about the crisis. And this is something that's interesting because Japan has always embraced cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology, and it's cool that they're starting to create these laws and regulations to coincide with that. So you can see where it says they're creating specific guidelines for ICOs. They're going to determine the risk and benefits of this business model. They're going to look at preventing money laundering. See, they're taking a practical approach. Unlike countries just banning it, they're saying, well, if this is new technology, let's see how we can approach it. Understand this. In an early market, it's hard to create regulations and laws because as the market emerges, it's constantly changing, and creating a static law that will eventually have to be changed, it's sometimes a waste of time than rather just letting the market emerge, seeing how the market develops and evolves, and then taking current guidelines and then utilizing those and implementing them and integrating them into this new market. And I think that's the best way to approach this. As you can see, they're looking to make progress tracking mandatory of projects so that you know how the projects are actually acting up upon what they proposed initially. And you can even see here, Japan is rather open-minded when it comes to cryptocurrencies and initial coin offerings, unlike a lot of these other countries. And here's my opinion. If you're a country, if you're watching this like as a prime minister or president, not that I think a prime minister or president would be watching this, but here's what I'll say. Embrace innovation. Don't just put the hand towards it and say, no, I don't want to innovate and grow my country. I just want to stay the same. Embrace it. Be open-minded, because understand, without open-mindedness to the new technology, you will be left behind. So with that being said, hopefully y'all enjoyed this market update. What an exciting one. Until our next one, if you haven't already subscribed, turn on the post notifications button. If you have, there's a little bell down there. And thank you all for watching. Until our next one, snipers out.